In the previous videos, we saw how we can sculpt with medium details in ZBRUSH. So we are continuing to define our character. So you're probably working on your mesh, on your character. So we also saw how we can use tools like the extract tool to extract parts that we can sculpt just on top of the mesh, or we can add as subtools. So we're starting to do a little bit of clothing, a little bit of let's call it fashion design or apparel. So we can create the clothing on top of our mesh using subtools, using the extract feature that we're also gonna see in this video. We're gonna see a little bit more about soft sculpting and like creating clothes. So we saw how we can use project tools, and I'm also gonna show you the project bas relief, which is another way you can project details on objects. Also, we saw previously projection master, which is another way you can project, and we also use the alpha with the depth map and using the Z add to project. So we have many different ways we can add details in our mesh or our main subtool. And with bas relief, we can like take all the subtools that we created so far, and we can project them as a bas relief, which is kind of a superficial 3D carving or sculpting on a particular surface, which could be a jewel, could be a panel, so depending on where you want to project. And we're going to see that in this video later on. We also talked about Boolean operations like addition, subtraction, intersection using the sub, and AND. With Dynamesh, we saw how we can create a shell using a simple mesh and then extracting again with the Dynamesh Boolean the part that is inside. And you can see again I've created some hard sculpting here and also some soft apparel. So we're gonna talk again about how you can do a little bit of clothing design, fashion design, apparel design in ZBRUSH. But before, I want to show you another option to import. So you can see also this website here, which is called Polycam. And here also you'll find a lot of 3D models that are pretty realistic because they are created by using pictures. So from photos, you can generate 3D models. And I also dedicated other videos in the channel, other video guides on how to use the smartphone app to take pictures and then create the model. And this is a model that I have generated using the photogrammetry. This technique here, this technology is called photogrammetry. But you can also explore here in the Polycam website. You will find models that you can use, like statues, to take inspiration, to learn, to study how, again, sculpture are made. Now, if you look on head, you will find a lot of heads. You can also take this head like and substitute the head of your character if you want. So this is like a head bust, and you can see down there the author of this photogrammetry 3D model. And again, we can study this, we can understand how clothes are made if you want to sculpt directly on the mesh, also airs and other really fine details. You can study this if you want to learn more on sculpture. Now, if you are a good sculptor in real life, you will probably do an excellent job also in ZBRUSH. So you can create here folders and collections, and you can save different 3D models again that you can use. You can try to reconstruct those in ZBRUSH, or you can just use them as references. So again, use a folder here, save, and you can store all these objects here, and then you can save them, export them. And these are in GLTF format, so you need to use like Blender to convert them, but I'm gonna show you that later as well. Now, of course, you can look for apparel. You can look for t-shirt. This is a tank top here. You can see there the author and the vertices, and this is a model that perhaps you can download and use if you want. So you can use ready-made clothing, ready-made objects, accessories also, that you find in Sketchfab. In this case, this is we already use Sketchfab. So if you look for like t-shirts, you can download t-shirt and apply it to your project. So you can use ready-made clothing. Also, this is another website, TurboSquid. Also here you will find some clothing. But again, I think that ZBRUSH is an excellent tool also to create custom clothing. So you can just like extract the clothes directly from your main mesh, which is more appropriate in my case. Now this is the previous character that I have been sculpting. You can see that when you save as a project, you can use the undo levels. So it's really handy to save your project as a project. So you can actually go back and forward using the tools. So you can see that I've applied this using the extract, and now I can move with the move tool, with the move brush. I can move this around and make it match with my character if I change the base character, which I did. So I'm gonna show you real quick all the various steps that I have done to increase the number of details, and not only, I've just also proceed with the rest of the body here and also the legs. So I have continued to sculpt and using the move tool, using Dynamesh, adding details with the standard, with the clay brushes, and continue to work on this character that you saw also in the previous video. So I just want to show you here how you can do a little bit of soft sculpting and modeling to continue to model your character before we actually get into the clothing part in more details. So you can see I have like something like 2000 undo levels here. So you have a lot of undo levels in ZBRUSH. So you can see here, this was the projection that we did with the previous video on the bust, but I decided that I don't want to sculpt directly on the mesh. I want to like have an independent body which on which I can apply clothes. And just to show you here, you can see that I have continued to use the standard brushes that we already know, like the move brush and the standard, the clay brush. You can see I've added clay for the abdominals and the rest of the body and also the pectorals. Again, as we started to see in the previous video, we can apply additional clay with the different clay brushes, and then you can like soften them out using the shift key. So the smooth brush, and again move, standard. And also to create the legs, I've just moved down like an extrusion with the move tool. I've moved down the legs, recreating the mesh with the Dynamesh feature, and then again add some details. And also I have added the feet using the IMM parts, so you can always apply more parts using Dynamesh and doing an addition. And again, I've continued here. You can see to sculpt all the details. Mainly the medium details have been done with a clay brush. So clay build up, clay brush will be really handy to define some details like muscles and everything that essentially is like underneath the skin. So everything that is underneath the skin layer could be like shown up in the mesh, in the superficial mesh. But we're also going to see how we can define the skin more and create like really fine details, like really smaller than this. So I consider this to be like medium details, but we can also get like more and more into detailing with ZBRUSH. I've also used the transpose tool to move the legs and also scale the legs using the mask and to constrain the deformation only on the leg. So we can use deformation, we